The Razer Blade Pro has been around for a while, but with this latest iteration, it has to compete with an entire landscape of workstation-class gaming laptops, which are aiming to take Razer's crown. Laptop manufacturers have all woken up to the fact that a huge portion of the fanbase for these devices, which were previously almost exclusively marketed as high-end gaming laptops, are some of the best laptops for creators, especially for anyone that has to do heavy video editing on the go. Today, we'll review Razer Blade Pro 17 laptop, the Macbook of gaming laptops. Before we start, go ahead and subscribe. Also, press the bell button to get the latest updates. Without any further delay, let us start. Strapped with an Intel Core i7-10875H processor, 16 GB of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 to start, there is definitely a lot of horsepower to spare. Paired with a lovely 17-inch 1080p display, this is definitely a laptop where you'll be able to play all the best PC games at max settings without messing around with resolution settings. You'll be paying for that hardware though. The Razer Blade Pro 17 starts off at $2,599. At $2,599 or £2,599 or, if you're in Australia, 4,899 Australian dollars, which will get you the configuration you see to the right. Now you can get last year's model with a 9th generation Intel processor and drop that price down to $2,399, about £1,900 or 3,450 Australian dollars. Though you'll get a 240Hz display rather than the 300Hz display found on the 2020 model. Of course, if that's not quite enough power, you can always go for one of the more juicy models. You can get the Razer Blade Pro 17 with up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super. Upgrade that SSD to 1TB and get a 4K 120Hz display to top it off for $3,799. Both of these configurations sound like a lot, but compared to other desktop replacement laptops like the $2,299 Gigabyte Aorus 17G and the $2,999 MSI GS75 Stealth, the Razer Blade Pro 17 fits in with its contemporaries even though it definitely outclasses them in design. Razer has always had excellent design, and the Blade Pro 17 is definitely no exception. The all-black design is only interrupted by a lit-up Razer logo on the back that does not even look obnoxious like most illuminated logos do. Of course, there's also an RGB keyboard which you can customize with the pre-installed Razer Synapse software. Beyond that, the keyboard is excellent, if a bit less clicky than we'd expect from a gaming laptop, though that's in no way a bad thing. The Razer Blade Pro 17 also has the best trackpad we have ever seen in a laptop of this class. While we get that with this kind of laptop, people are going to be primarily using external mice, having a trackpad that does not suck is underrated. And this one is almost as good as a Mac trackpad. On either side of the keyboard, you get these massive top-firing speakers. They're not the best sounding speakers in the world. The bass is not quite as heavy as we'd like. But because of their positioning, they aren't muffled. Nestled in the top of the right-hand speaker, you get a power button, which is just kind of a weird placement. As far as ports are concerned, there are plenty. There are 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, one on each side of the laptop, along with 3 USB-A ports. Then, to add a cherry on top, there's an HDMI port, Ethernet, and a full-sized SD card reader. Basically, whether you're a gamer or a creative professional, you're not going to be left wanting for ports. The reason Razer was able to stuff all these ports in, though, is the sheer thickness of this laptop. While it's not much bigger than other laptops in its class, measuring just 0.78 inches thick, it is very heavy. This thing weighs a whopping 6.06 pounds, which is heavier than the Gigabyte Aorus 17G, which is a full 22% thicker. If you're looking to commute with this thing, just be prepared for the workout that carrying it around in your backpack is going to be. The laptop's wide port selection means you can potentially connect up to 3 external displays. There are 3 USB 3.2 Generation 2 Type A ports, 1 USB 3.2 Generation 2 Type C, 1 Thunderbolt 3, 1 Ethernet, 1 power port, 1 HDMI, and 1 UHS 3 SD card slot, in addition to a Kensington lock. You can charge the Blade by USB-C, but Razer recommends that you stick with its brick, since the laptop may charge slowly or not charge at all if you're using it with a low wattage adapter. The standout feature here, though, is the display. The Pro 17 can come with one of two screens, a 300Hz screen with 1920 by 1080 resolution or a 120Hz touch display with a 3840 by 2160 resolution. Moreover, that is before you even consider the weight of the charger, which you're going to need to carry around with you too, because the battery life is not great. With its 10th generation Comet Lake H processors, Intel has drastically improved the average battery life of even the most beefy workstations. Coupled with NVIDIA Optimus, which intelligently switches off the dedicated GPU when it is not needed. Even gaming laptops are getting some pretty decent battery life these days. But not the Razer Blade Pro 17. In the PC Mark X battery test, this laptop squeezed by with just 4 hours of battery life, a full hour behind the Asus Zephyrus Duo, a laptop with two screens. A lot of this likely comes down to the 300Hz refresh rate, but you're definitely going to want to make sure this thing is plugged in most of the time. Luckily, the Razer Blade Pro 17 performs as expected, but there's a bit of a twist. Right out of the box, the performance profile holds the laptop back a little bit. If you want to squeeze the most juice out of it, you're gonna want to go into Razer Synapse, select the Razer Blade Pro icon, go over the Performance tab, and make a custom power profile, and crank the CPU and GPU sliders all the way up. Once you do that, you're gonna be able to squeeze the most performance out of the laptop, which just means better frame rate for gamers and time saved for creators. Once you do that, the Razer Blade Pro 17 punches above its weight class, beating the RTX 2080 Super in the Zephyrus Duo in all of our gaming tests. It does still lag behind when it comes to raw CPU performance, but not by much. Ultimately, this is a powerful laptop, with a nice aesthetic and plenty of ports. It's a bit heavy, to be sure, and the battery life is not quite there, but if those are the things you can live with, there's a lot to love about the Razer Blade Pro 17. The components in the Razer Blade Pro 17 perform to their highest potential, making sure you're getting strong performance for the considerable cash you're putting into it. If you're a creative professional, you're unfortunately probably used to laptops making you live that dongle life. Not with the Razer Blade Pro 17. This laptop has every port most people will ever need. Razer makes everything from laptops to gaming keyboards to mousepads. If you have a lot of Razer peripherals and want to keep the lighting synced, Razer Synapse is here for everything. That is all for today, folks. Tell us in the comment section about your point of view. See you soon with another amazing video.